So yeah, I'm an F1 content creator, but I've also taken that into a space where I'm now doing stuff on TV, which is just incredible. Like if I was told back when I started in 2015 that you're going to be doing stuff on TV now, presenting and doing gigs like that, then I would have just been like, what on earth? Just from gaming in my room, this is incredible. So I'd probably say that's probably like one of the biggest achievements that I've done so far, and just being a part of the F1 esports show and hopefully, going on to that again this year as it gets bigger and better. That's going to be something I look forward to.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Track Limits podcast presented by Formula Addict. We are here with an F1 creator, the commentator for the F1 esports series, and just an all-around great person. Haydon, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to finally meet you guys in person, but also to be on this great podcast. Cheers, guys.
I've honestly been seeing your content probably for like the last year, I think.
I'm sorry that I've
It's been so annoying.
Mute.
So great, and this is generally one of the episodes we were so excited for because I feel like there's a lot going on in your life that we can unpack across different verticals. So that's why I'm really excited just in the next hour to be able to go through each part and learn how you became who you were.
Well, hopefully I can entertain you with that story.
Let's
and
do
hopefully
it.
it lives up to the tale.
Yeah, incredible. So our podcasts do have like a structure of 3 parts. Q1, all kind of related to your career more, specifically obviously on the commentating side and obviously on the creation side. And then Q2 is more personal, trying to understand you as a professional, what makes you tick. And then finally is the rapid fire round. We're going to unleash the guys and be able to ask rapid questions and hopefully give us fire answers.
Yes.
Incredible. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are some of the core accomplishments that you're really proud about? Kind of tell us a bit about your career so far.
So yeah, I'm an F1 content creator, but I've also taken that into a space where I'm now doing stuff on TV, which is just incredible. Like if I was told back when I started in 2015 that you're going to be doing stuff on TV now, presenting and doing gigs like that, then I would have just been like, what on earth? Just from gaming in my room, this is incredible. Yeah. So I'd probably say that's probably like one of the biggest achievements that I've done so far, and just being a part of the F1 esports show and hopefully, going on to that again this year as it gets bigger and better. That's going to be something I look forward to. But yeah, I think also just meeting so many people in this space and just getting to know, because there's so many new people, and I'm always a little bit tentative when there are new people come in, because sometimes you're like, what are their gains in there when they're trying to get to know you? Are they just trying to use you and get stuff out of you? But every time I've met someone, it's always been just an absolute pleasure. And I've just like put those doubts to the side and be like, what am I afraid of? Like, these guys are incredible. So I think those 2 avenues, like personally getting to know more people and building friendships and stuff like that, but also, I guess career-wise would be doing the presenting stuff.
And then what does the day-to-day life for you right now look like? I know it's kind of the off-season for the esports side, but when it's kind of peak season, how do you balance everything?
I haven't quite got to that stage yet, I suppose, because when last time it kicked off, I was fully dedicated on that. I was just doing the presenting. That was my job. Now, because we've had this off-season, I've been like, I need to kind of get into the content creation side of it and give myself something to do and give myself a platform, but also keep myself relevant, not just so that they pick me up again, but also so I know what I'm talking about when I'm on the show. Yep. So that, so I have that information. Because if I just take a year off and be like, okay, we'll come on to the next one, and then they ask me a question of how do these tires work? What's the strategy? I'm like, I don't know. I don't play anymore.
Haven't a clue.
So for those 2 reasons, I've sort of, definitely got back into it. So I'd say at the moment, the day-to-day life is getting up, getting the short little posts that you probably see on your Instagram, TikTok, wherever, getting that up on the day, and then trying to come up with some ideas for longer form videos, as well as filtering in Twitch and YouTube streams and just trying to do that. But yeah, when that pops off, it's going to have to manage it a little bit, but it's just, I'm going to have to learn how to be organized. I'm not very good at that, but I'm going to have to learn how to be a little bit more organized to get stuff done before, and then enjoy the shows when we do them.
And then when it comes to the creation side, like what do you think might be kind of your unique perspective on how you create content compared to other people? Do you think a lot about that?
Not necessarily. I don't, because it's one of those things, because obviously we know each other in this space. It's kind of just like, what do you suck at that I feel like I'm better at? And I feel like as a creator, you kind of have to feel like you're better in every avenue, because otherwise, why are you here? Like you take inspiration from other people and you look at it and go, right, how can I improve on that? And that's how I've got a little good sort of battle, because I don't know if you know a guy called Tom who's Dutch. He's kind of doing the same thing as me on TikTok and Instagram, where we post daily, we do clips, and I look at his stuff and he implements something new, like even if it's just subtitles, I'm like, I've got to do that, but I've got to do it better. So I've got to step it up, and we just kind of work together. And I think that's a good way to look at that. But maybe more specifically, I feel like I always come with like really creative ideas. I feel like a lot of stuff that I've done for Lotche in the past, some of their biggest shows have come from my brain. So I feel like that's maybe something that I am proud of in terms of that different, unique angle. But also at the same time, it's quite difficult for me to get those into actual production.
Yeah. And how do you go about creating that content? Because F122, a lot of people have complained that this is not the best game to be creating content, and they're seeing a downward on their content creation. So how do you go about creating those new ideas? What if that game doesn't work? Yeah,
it's been a bit difficult, I think. But recently I've come up with a sort of concept with Aarava that you've had on the podcast before, where we're going to be doing stuff together, collaborating, and just coming up with unique ideas that I haven't seen in the space before. And a lot of stuff is, the way I kind of work is I don't come up with unique ideas just off the spot. I look around, what's popping off, what's popular, and then how can I translate that into an F1 world? And for me, I'm outside of Formula One. I love Pokemon. Like I'm watching Pokemon videos.
You see him in the back
games.
of your streams.
Yeah,
Did you see the show ended?
Yeah, I know. It's sad, but we're going into a new era, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, for me, I love Pokemon. So that's what I watch on YouTube. And there's a couple of popular YouTubers that I watch. And I'm like, how can I convert these ideas into Formula One and kind of do a different spin on it like that? And I've taken somebody's concepts and I've adapted that for myself and Aarava to do. And I'm really excited of the content that we're making and the ideas that we have, that I'm hoping it will like push towards the start of the game. Then once the new game kicks off, then this is just going to go towards the moon, and we're just going to be popping off. So I'm excited for that.
Love that.
Yeah, and you have done a lot of collaboration with a lot of influencers in the esports world and just content creation. And recently you did one with no other than Zhou Guanyu. How was that experience for you?
Honestly, it's incredible, and a lot of people kind of look at that and go, "How did you manage to like get him?"
That was like my follow-up question.
How?
It's like because I did one-off video. I usually do stuff on the Instagram and TikTok, and I've been doing that for months. Like we just always jump on, but it all came about 2022. I went over for Bahrain testing with Live Fast. We interviewed him and we sat down. I was nervous. I'm interviewing a Formula One driver, make sure I get this right. And he was just like, I've seen your stuff on TikTok and Instagram. And I was just I was like, this isn't how it's supposed to work.
Is this real?
I'm supposed to be saying that to you. Like, what's going on here? And it settled me amazingly. And he was just like, that I jump into random people's open lobbies and just race under a different name, which I've now exposed. Sorry, Joe. So that came about, and I just said to him, because Veloce were working with Alfa Romeo at the time, and I was just like, well, we can do something, a bit of content there with the esports drivers. I can get those boys involved, get you involved. We can do some races, have some fun. And then a couple of weeks later, he just DM'd me on Instagram, just like, I'm jumping on F1, you want to play? And now it's just every single time that he's home and he's free, he'll be like, do you want to jump on and play F1? So the missus doesn't like it. Sorry. Joe's texted me. You haven't got me tonight.
It's like, this is work. I got to go.
Is there other content or F1 drivers that you think will jump on and play with you?
I don't think so, because Zhou loves the game.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other drivers, I know Max Verstappen's talked about, he does a lot of sim racing, but he doesn't like the F1 game because it's arcadey. He likes the more, the iRacing stuff and all of that. And I think it's similar with Lando when he was doing all the streaming and stuff. Now he just kind of does a sort of just chatting stream. He just talks to his audience and does lots of different stuff. So Lando would probably be the next one, and he does do stuff with us with Quadrant and the virtual GP, so we do stuff with him there. But other drivers, I'm not too sure, because obviously Charles Leclerc picked it up, so did George, all of them lot. But since lockdown over, they just kind of dropped it, and they've gone back to what they really enjoy doing. But for Zhou, he loves it. Like he enjoys playing the game. He enjoys playing open lobbies. So we just play all the time for that. Amazing. And I don't mind. I'm happy.
Is he good?
Playing with Zhou. He is incredible. And it's so annoying because a lot of Formula One drivers, they got good during lockdown. But when Lando jumps on, he's not good. And in the virtual GPs, he's usually taking people out on purpose because he can't be as good up there. Because it is a completely different thing. But because he plays it so much, he's so good, and it's so annoying. Every time we have these little championships, he's always beating me.
You're really quick though.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
we were talking about your Jeddah hot lap and how fast you were there. Like we thought, oh my god, we were like, oh, we're on it quick. I mean, Mikey set a really fast time. I forgot what you got, Mikey.
Oh, in Jeddah, I can't
Jeddah,
remember.
yeah,
I
but
think it was top 3% on.
Yeah,
I was like,
top
hell yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm happy
And,
with
and
that.
we were still like 6-7 tenths off your time.
Yeah, it's disheartening when you see the top bikes. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. But like, how did you get that good? Like, have you been playing, the
I
F1
think-
game for a while now?
I think, just playing it. Like, I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near, because I'm still like a second off of esports drivers, maybe more. Like, those guys are incredible.
The robots.
Different animals.
Yeah, it's insane. But I'm better than the average person because I just play it so much, and I haven't played it as much recently. And if I did, I would. Like I was doing league racing towards the end of 2022, and I was really proper sweating it. Like I get on, I do my practice, do my hot laps in time trial, get down to a time that I feel like I can't improve on, go into the race, and then put myself at the front and try and compete there. Which was always all good practice as well for when I was doing the esports show, because I was in that league race element. It's a different competition. I'm not competing against F1 esports drivers, but it's still competitive no matter what tier you're in. So I still have that understanding. But yeah, no, recently I've kind of just taken the ball off. I'm not as quick as I used to be because we do this creator series and I want to be at the top of there, but I just don't find the time now or the interest to be like proper putting in the hard work.
Now's our time to race some Swish.
Yeah, exactly. You can beat them. But a lot of them are sweating it. They're getting coaching. They're doing...
Seriously?
Yeah. They're doing
wow.
all of that stuff. And I'm just like, I jump on 10 minutes before, do one lap and be like, yeah, this is
Got this, got this.
I've got the points, a job done.
And when you were doing the live presenting for the esports, what's your take on like what's the best approach for hosting? Like what's your strategy? Or
I think just be natural about it. I think you have to obviously play up to the cameras a little bit and make sure that you're being heard and you have emphasis on your voice and you're trying to be that
Animated
creator as well
a
and animated rather than just sort of sit there and answer a question just like, yeah, that's what they would do, because it's not gonna they're not gonna call you back, you're not gonna get back on the show, so you have to sort of play up to it. And we've got great hosts on the F1 esports. Tom Deacon is a comedian. He'll get the best out of you because he'll just do so many crazy funny things, and it's so relaxed and so easy to get into it. And Matt Gallagher as well, so relaxed in the role. He knows how to ask you the right questions and get the best out of you. So those guys are great, and that's how I would say it obviously takes a lot to get up to there. A lot of people would go into that. I mean, my first one when I was doing V10R League, when I first did it, which was the summer last year, I was so nervous. And I've done stuff before, being on camera, but never live TV because it was a new thing. I was so nervous. I was bricking it. And I was with a girl called Steph Wentworth, who was alongside me. She's like, why are you nervous? You're going to kill this. You're so good at this. You've done this before. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I just can't help it. Like, but then once you get into it, you relax into it. And Tom was, like I say, was so great and was able to sort of like help you out.
And then how do you handle like negative criticism? I'm curious. Like, we asked Aarava this as well. Like, do you look at it? Do you care about it? Do you take feedback in and try to adapt your content? Or are you kind of more just, I'm just going to do my thing, continue to do that?
Yeah, I feel like you always see it. I feel like you always see it. There's a difference, I suppose, between negative criticism of your work, which you can kind of take on and learn from. That's fine. I'm still kind of getting to grips with like when you do get the odd hate, because a lot of the time you can push it aside. I kind of put it into the side of just like, you're jealous of me, that's why you're coming at me. It might not be the case, but that's when my headspace goes to sort of ignore it and keep my mental health good. But sometimes it's always going to get you on a bad day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do see one, you're just like, I'm not gonna. I
Did you
want to see
comment
that
back?
today.
Or you like,
Or block function.
Sometimes when it comes to racing, if someone's commented on like my TikTok and like a great piece of content for me is if somebody's had a crash with me in like league racing or something and I've reported them in the league race, they've got the penalty, I will still post that on and say who's at fault here, because I know that people are going to side with me, people are going to side with them, and sometimes they say stuff that's just completely ridiculous. I'm like, right, I've got to get involved here. What are you saying?
But you're growing a community, so you have to engage in that community, whether it be positive or negative. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to take on negative feedback, but sometimes not always good to steer your content in that way. And I learned that very early on back in 2016, that I would listen to what the comments were saying, but the people who comment are a very small section of your community. So they're not necessarily the way to find new people in. So because I was listening to them, I was helping the people who already watch me enjoy my stuff, but I wasn't able to get new audience in because I basically just catered for them rather than finding a new audience.
Yeah. And if Codemasters was here, and they are developing the F123. What would you tell them right now to make this game better?
Bring back classic cars.
Yes.
Bring back
Yes.
classic tracks.
Yes.
I mean, I want to race around Hockenheim. I want to race
Yes.
around Sepang again. Those sort of tracks dropped out of the game 2019, 2017. So their files are still there.
Yep.
They can just remaster them, work on DLCs. Okay, I know that a track, they told me, takes about a year to make for the team that they have. So maybe, okay, they don't actually have the team in place. They need to expand upon that. But yeah, for me, that would just completely keep the game's cycle going. Like even they don't all have to come at release. They just spread them out across the year. It gives
You can drip feed
people,
it.
Yeah, and we had that in 2021 game, Jeddah, Imola, and Portimao, because there were still tracks that other tracks got cancelled because of COVID. So these tracks got put on the calendar, and they were rushed to try and get them. So they couldn't get them for release date, but they dropped them a few months later. Individually, and the cycle of the game just boosted back up even after the 2021 season had finished. So that definitely massively helped. So for me, that's what I would say.
Boom.
You
heard it, Codemasters.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what couch do you have in F1?
Oh my god.
No, to
stop.
be fair, right? We all hate against the couch, but it's the one way. I mean, my girlfriend doesn't love watching my stuff, but she does watch my stuff, and she's a great supporter on that side, and always listens like, oh, how'd the race go and stuff like that. But the first time I ever got her properly involved was just like, do you want to design my living room? And she was like, yes, I do.
She's like, what is this game again? Like home design, or are you doing a race again?
I don't even want to be on track.
I think she was in the Netherlands at the time, so I was just sharing my screen to her on Discord, and I was just like, right, okay, which sofas? I'm just going through. Can you go back to that one, actually? Yeah, sure.
She's like, no, it doesn't match the color scheme next.
Incredible. Well, that's Q1. Henny, Mikey, verdict?
Thumbs up over here.
Yeah, green.
Yeah, green.
Yeah,
that's
green.
a green sector.
Looks like we're going through
Yeah.
Q2.
Hot round.
Stay tuned. Q2's coming up with Haydon. Welcome back, guys, to Track Limits. We're here with Haydon, getting into Q2. Haydon, you ready to go?
I'm ready and raring.
All right. So we want to go a little bit deeper into you as a professional. Before all of this, before the commentating side, before the creation side, tell us a bit about your upbringing. Was this always in the kind of cards for you, like getting into Formula One and being a part of this world, or was there a potential alternative career that you were thinking about growing up?
I definitely knew of Formula One. Like it was a big thing, I'd say, in my family. My dad and my mum definitely watched it, but I didn't have the attention span as a kid. I would just walk in. Schumacher was top of the time, and I would always be a big Schumacher fan back then. I'd be like, is Schumacher winning? Yes, no. That would be my input, and then I'd go out. Sometimes I'd sit down and watch a little bit, but then I'd move on and go play outside or whatever. So Formula One was always a part, and then not so much in towards like the early 2000s as well. And then obviously Lewis Hamilton coming into the sport, and a new British. I think it's very similar to how when Max came in for the Dutch fans, and it was a big resurgence for Formula One then. So I got into it. I remember watching the 2007 Brazil race, and then watching a bit more of 2008, and obviously watching him win the title. And I properly got back into it in 2009. And Button won that one. And since then, I've just always been a Button fan, because he was the one that I properly got into. He was at the top. But yeah, in terms of like other stuff that I wanted to do, growing up, I think from an early age, acting was something that I wanted to look at, but never sort of put myself out there. Was always a bit more afraid of being like bullied at school for doing something different. So I'd kind of keep to the usual stuff, play football. That would all I do at lunchtime. Wouldn't do like the drama club halfway through the day. I would just go and play football outside with my mates. So that would be something that to be fair, I still would love to do, like to put myself out there and just go and do like acting. Amazing. That would be something I'd love to do. But presenting was something from like GCSE time. I was thinking about, okay, acting, I don't do enough drama club. I didn't do that, so maybe that's not an avenue that I can go down. But presenting is something I can look at. And I was never confident at school. Like I was one of the shy kids, and I still feel like I am to an extent. Like if it's a big group of people, I would always just kind of like sit at the back and just kind of people watch and engage at times and get amongst the jokes. But I wouldn't always be like the loudest person in the room, which I think a lot of people would look at like content creators and just expect that because they feel like they're natural. But we're in our bedrooms, we're by ourselves. Like there's no one there. There's not a big group of people that I have to worry about. And it's the same when you're on a show as well. You're there with 3 other people that you already know. It's a lot easier to talk to.
It's more intimate, like.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'd say that would be something that I did. But all of my GCSEs and all my A-levels never pointed to any of those because they were all just different things, like just trying to please parents, and also looking up to my brother who done stuff before, and I was just like, okay, let's do that, because like, you know, I sort of like idolized him a bit. So I was like, okay, I'll do these subjects for GCSEs. And then A levels, I kind of did more of my own stuff. And just kind of went to that stage where, okay, I enjoy doing PE. I'll maybe look at like being like a sports teacher or PE teacher or something like that. So I did a bit of sports coaching for A levels, and then it got to like halfway through my third year, because I failed the first year, so I had to do it again.
Repeat.
So the third year, halfway through that, I was watching a lot more YouTube and stuff like that, and then that's when I got into the idea of content creation. And I knew that I wasn't someone who was good at school. Like, I was naturally gifted in sort of early primary school years, secondary school years, but as soon as you actually had to put effort in, like GCSEs, I could put no effort in and get C's and B's and maybe a 1 or 2 A's. But then as soon as it got to A levels where you actually have to put the effort in, so many times, like I think I managed to spell dude with my grades. Like that's how bad they were. So at that point last year, I was like, I don't really care what I get, but I just want to pass. I just want to pass. So I don't have to be told by my parents, you need to reset. I just want to pass, and that's it. Even if it's just the minimum, if it's a D, it's a pass, I'm happy with it.
Take it.
And then as soon as that stopped, I was just like, right, let's get into content creation.
And what about public speaking? Were you always gifted at that, or was that something you had to work at?
No, definitely something I had to work at. Like if I watch my first YouTube videos, I'm very monotonal. Hello and welcome to this video, and it's like that. It is something that I think everyone has to work on, because people say, "Oh, I could never do that," but you definitely could. Anyone can do it. It does just take a little bit of time, and you do have to kind of like believe in yourself and believe in the progress. But it's always great to look back at where you were and be like, I'm so much different compared to that, and so much more confident, and just sort of proud of where you've come.
Yeah. And you have a job that a lot of people would want, especially in this era we're in. What's that one piece of advice you would give someone that's entering the world of content creation or even just gaming?
I'd just say perseverance, honestly. Like, I think a lot of people now coming in are in maybe in a better way sometimes than when we were, because it was new. Obviously, Aarava was doing it a lot longer before I was. But even for me, it took me a whole year to just get 100 subs. Yeah. And I know people who will get into it and get 100 subs in like a couple of months. I'm like, that is amazing. Yeah. And we'll just keep on growing it. Just keep on working on your content, keep on pushing yourself out there, and work on yourself. Because a lot of people come to me sometimes and be like, how do I get seen by orgs and stuff like that? I'm like, most of the time, if you keep on doing the right things, they're going to spot you anyway. Yeah, okay, dropping an email occasionally can help, and it helped me massively. I don't know if Aarava spoke to you at all about helping me, but I just dropped him an email one day. I'm just like, I'd love to do a collaboration with you one day. And he was like, oh, well, we're not on the same platform, but I've checked out your channel. I'm like, this is actually really good, so I'm going to give you a shout out, sort of thing. And then that just boomed for me. Like, that was a massive help for me there. But yeah, I'd say definitely just keep on going with it. Just keep on pushing it, and just look around the space and just try and build up yourself.
How do you go about picking a collaborator yourself?
You definitely have to have good chemistry. Yeah. Because if you don't, then the video is just going to be a little bit kind of deadish. Like you won't be able to get that banter across and can't really have a laugh with it. And it's just kind of like dead in the water. But also somebody that has good ideas as well. That there has to be a reason for both of you in it. Like, I'm currently doing stuff with Aarava. His channel's massive compared to me. Yeah. So for him looking at it, being like, why would I want to do something with you when, you know, I'll get a video out of it, but at the same time, it's not going to help me progress and grow. So for me, I feel like what I'm helping with is we have a spreadsheet, and I just throw in a lot of ideas. I'm very proud of the ideas that I have. And I'm like, you're welcome to pick and choose, because we'll do one on your channel, one on my channel. Yeah. And we'll do it that way. So I feel like I can sort of give back a little bit that way. But yeah, I mean, if they're high profile, obviously you're going to take it up. Like with Zhou, you know, if he's free to play, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
You know? We know Aarava loves the spreadsheet.
He does love a spreadsheet. He said he's a full schedule based off for the year. He was saying,
for the whole year, a spreadsheet. I'm like, how? That's incredible. But like,
good.
I work day to day.
Some creators
You're my kind of guy.
And how do you? I'm curious, like, not like fully absorb yourself in that world either. You know, like, how do you disconnect sometimes? Because if you're like monitoring people and what content's out there and posting, like, I can imagine a lot of people, they get sucked into it and they can't even like pull themselves out of like the world of social media and creation. How do you get out of it?
I'll let you know when I figure that out.
Give me the answer.
It is quite difficult, because like, I feel like as a freelancer, as a self-employed person, if you take a day off, you kind of feel guilty for doing it. You kind of feel like, you know, I have this little bit of time, I could have done that, or I could have done this. But it is very important to take those days off. So for me, the best things are when there's something actually planned. Like, if I've got something planned to do with my girlfriend, we're going out here, we're going to do this or whatever, then I can sort of take my mind off it and do it. But I am very guilty of, it's the first thing I check when I wake up, the last thing I check when I go to bed. I am still very self-obsessed in that world, because I don't know, I feel like it is hard to get out of it sometimes, like just looking at the numbers and being like, oh, okay, this is really popping off. But it's also bad on the other side if you look at something, the last thing you see before you go to bed, and it's not doing as well as you thought, and it's like, oh,
it's weighing on your mind, and
exactly. And then and I'm quite bad as well, like I say, about creating ideas and stuff like that. Sometimes I just can't sleep, and it would just be because I've got ideas on my head, and I just need to be up till 3 a.m. just writing stuff down, just be like, okay, just get them all down. My girlfriend hates it sometimes. Just start tossing and turning.
So like, turn off the lights.
Just go away. Just go and do what you need to do.
Like,
go away.
Don't worry, it's about the sofas. Don't worry. Don't worry.
And what's your personal goals coming up now, or like, is there any exciting projects that you're working on or planning?
I think the stuff with Aarava is one thing that I would love to kick off, and then for F1 23 because we've got season 1 at the moment. Season 1 of that is going to go up until the end of F1 22, and then season 2, hopefully, if he wants to do it again,
they're great videos, by the way.
Thank you very much. We'll kick off for F1 23, and we'll hopefully do bigger and better, because there's stuff that other people aren't doing in that space in terms of challenges. Like the challenges that I usually see are drive till the tires explode, which has been done by everyone about a million times, and all compounds of tires, or a lap down versus 0 AI. That stuff is good content, but because it's been done so much time, I want to do something that is new, I think.
Well, let us know if you need some guinea pigs to sign up.
We'll jump in. We're drive against Canadian amateurs. That should be a challenge.
Jump in the open lobbies with us. Yeah,
that's incredible. And is there people that you look up to in this space that you're like, maybe you're getting inspiration from them, but you're also just admiring their career and their path as well, and you kind of want to emulate that path, other than Aarava?
I think honestly, like a lot of people that I have met and I speak to, like I say before going into it, it's kind of because they're your competitors at the same time. So if I don't know them, I'm a bit like, oh, okay, you've got the one up on me, or a little bit like that. So I'm a little bit like, I've got to kind of get you back. And then I get to know them, and it's more just like, you're incredible at what you do. I want to look at that, and I want to pick your brain and be like, right, okay, so how do you do that? How can I then develop my skills on that side? So there's a lot of people, I'd say, in the F1 space. I feel like everyone I have worked with, I look at and I go, you're incredible at what you do. And we'll just pick and choose little bits of what they do and try and adapt it into my own way as well, but build myself up that way.
Yeah. And has there been a moment where you said, I failed, like this did so bad, like I want to quit? Yeah,
definitely. I'd say back in the early days when I first started, I was just left college. I was part-time at Tesco, and I was doing YouTube at the same time. And then as I was doing more things with like my mates and stuff like that, I was needing more money, so I was having to work more at Tesco, and other supermarkets too are available, of course. But so I was doing more stuff there with them, and it just got to a stage where I was filming a video till like, and editing it till like about, I don't know, like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I'd wake up to start a shift at 9, work from 9 till 6. I'd take my full break in one go, an hour and a half. I'd go home, 50 minutes drive home, go home, edit, render, upload that, set that for upload, drive back, do the rest of my shift, come back, and then the cycle would repeat.
That's commitment though, like, dude, you were grinding.
It was too much though, because it just got to a stage that I was just sat at home in that middle lunch break, and I just went, I can't do this anymore.
You got to burn out.
And I just completely like stopped. It was like 2017, 2018. And it was only once I sort of was doing too much at Tesco that was becoming more of a full-time job that I literally hated so much. I was like, I don't want to do this. That I then pushed myself out there and searched for jobs and got in contact with Veloce, and that all started.
Wow.
Have you a hobby then that's outside of work? Because you say you struggle to switch off. Have you like a little escape where you're like, okay, I'm going to switch off. I can't even think about anything.
Yes. Like I say, I'm really into Pokemon and stuff like that. Like me and the missus, like I'm so happy that I found somebody who we share so much interest together. It's not something that I have to go do my own thing, or I have to be like, oh, I'm going to go do this now. Oh, but I want to hang out sort of thing. It's like, oh, well, let's just do it together. So, playing Pokemon Go or something like that when I'm out and about. So it pushes me to go out for a walk and get active or go outside. So we go do that. Or it's just, watching YouTube videos outside of the Formula One world. So sometimes they're not always, I'm watching people to pick and choose their ideas. Sometimes most of the time it's just because I actually enjoy it. So I'd say definitely that's the sort of stuff that I would do in my spare time, sort of like take that break away from it.
Nice.
Final question. What's your take on the current F1 season and then the upcoming esports season? I'm curious to hear if you have any hot takes or any surprises that you think we're in store for.
I'm impressed by the current F1 season. I'd say if it has a championship battle, it's going to be a lot better. I'm liking the battle for the rest. Like Red Bull gone. It's an exciting championship.
Mid-pack is like, it's good.
And as an Aston Martin fan as well, I'm very, very happy with how that's going.
They're kicking ass.
They are. I'm a big Lance Stroll fan as well, so I'm hoping he can actually get some
Canadian boy.
Hopefully he can get some race wins this season. I know Alonso's the main dog. I'm happy to accept that. Alonso's one of the best drivers F1's ever seen. So it's very exciting, and I think Aston Martin can start to get some race wins at the end of the season. As for F1 esports, it's a great part of the season because it is just silly season. Everybody's moving teams, everybody's going in different directions, and it happens every single year. That it's obviously not as broadcast as much as real life Formula One, but it's always exciting to be like, okay, so who's going where, but also who's coming up, because we saw it last year, the likes of Jake Benham, Thomas Ronhart, new people who'd come into the sport and were winning races, scoring points, pushing out old people who'd already established themselves in those teams. So definitely an exciting time, and I think the new season's going to be, what I've heard, is bigger and better.
I'm hoping it's land too. I think a lot of people are hoping that
I'm
kind of bring it back, right?
Well, that'll stop a lot of the conversations about cheating and everything.
Definitely.
And you need to just silence that for the sport to grow as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Incredible. Well, that's Q2. Verdict, people?
I'm giving him purple. Yeah, it was purple.
Let's go.
Let's go. Give him a boost of confidence. Q3 next.
Provisional poll here potentially.
Q3 is hard, you know.
Rapid fire round is coming up with Haydon. Welcome back. Track Limits Q3 rapid fire round with Haydon. Haydon, are you nervous right now?
I am. I don't know what's coming. I hear those pictures.
There's beads of sweat there.
All right, so we're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Answers rapid, full of fire. That's what we're trying to go for here. Okay. All right. First question. If you had to choose one platform to post on forever, which one would it be?
YouTube. 100%.
Okay.
Perfect. For audio listeners, I'm about to show you a photo. This is you with blue hair. Explain what was happening. I know there was what was happening here.
So we were doing Not the GP, which was a series over lockdown to sort of replace the races. Then there was an event that we were doing for UNICEF where we were raising money for them. And if we got, I think it was like 6,000, I was like, I will dye my hair blue. So we were Veloce, we were blue. So we hit the 6,000. Well, I think we smashed past that goal, way past it. So blue hair, which I think at that time in that picture, it actually looks all right, but people preferred it when it was faded. So I'm a bit confused. But I had to do that all myself, in all fairness.
Looks well. Of the social media platforms, which one would you delete?
Twitter, gone. Never use it, hate it.
Oh, really?
It's too chaotic in my eyes.
It is. Greatest driver of all time, in your opinion?
Greatest driver of all time, Lewis Hamilton.
Nice. If you were an F1 driver, what team would you pick?
Aston Martin.
Okay, two-parter. Lost my train of thought there. Who would you want as a teammate and who would you not want as a teammate?
Jenson Button, because he's my favourite driver of all time. Love him as a teammate. Who would I not want as a teammate? Lewis Hamilton or Michael Schumacher, because they just wipe the floor.
That's actually a good answer.
What's your wildest prediction for the 2023 season? Like one thing.
Wildest prediction? That Sergio Perez is going to be dropped and Ricciardo will come in.
Hot take.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
That is
I kind of believe it though.
Yeah, me too. You were talking about that like last night.
Your favorite creator?
My favorite creator?
Content creator,
Ooh, favorite creator? I'd say probably at the moment PM7, who's a Pokemon YouTuber.
Nice. Yeah, he was cool.
Best and worst thing about being a content creator?
Best and worst thing? I mean, living your dream job, I think, is the best thing, and having the freedom to do what you want. The worst thing, getting the hate, I'd say.
What about the funniest Instagram comment you've ever gotten? Do you remember?
Funniest Instagram comment? I think it's just people who don't know anything about how to drive and commenting on the whose fault is it videos. I think it's got to be. I can't think of a specific one, but people just saying something like, oh, he's alongside you when he's nowhere near and just sending it into the side of you, taking you out, sort of things.
Oh, man. Next one. Worst mistake that people make when creating content?
Worst mistake people make? I think, for me, people just having a viral video can be like one of the worst things you can have, because you're always looking at that and being like, I've failed because I've not hit that
again.
But sometimes getting a lot of like 15k videos are a lot better than getting 1 million once a year.
Very interesting. What piece of F1 memorabilia would you like to own?
F1 memorabilia. I think I mean, I'm going to go big here now. I'll just the Williams FW14B car, just the whole car.
Oh, the whole car. Not the wheel, just the car. Like.
Just the
Where
whole
would you
car.
put the car?
Yeah.
Like,
Where would I put the car? I don't have room. Just on the drive. Why not?
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
That's incredible.
Oh yeah, that's the engine. Why not?
The most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you while you were presenting or creating content?
Most embarrassing thing. I think maybe we did a video which was like way back in the day on Veloce where we're doing like these Halloween sort of like trick or treat, and it was just like I had to have Marmite. I hate Marmite, and I was like basically throwing up in the sink. Like that's probably one of the worst moments for on camera.
Oh wow! If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower, what would it be? Teleportation, because I'm always usually late and I hate traveling, so it'd be so much easier for me.
Yeah, like planes especially.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
planes.
I
can't
hate
stand
flying.
them. Yeah.
What celebrity or athlete would you think be a good fit for F1?
Celebrity or athlete? Oh, okay.
To play an F1 driver.
Play an F1
Yeah.
driver. What's the one who was in Twilight? Who was the perfect fit for Lance
Robert
Stroll?
Pattinson?
No.
Oh no, the other one, Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, that's
yes,
Lance
Taylor.
Stroll.
I don't watch Twilight.
is
but
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know who this
That's
person
Lance
is.
Stroll.
That is Lance
Yeah, that is
Stroll.
Lance
They're
Stroll,
the same
yeah.
person.
Somebody needs to pop up a photo for this. I have no idea. Like.
Football references.
Your favorite F1 driver lineup of all time?
Got to be the McLaren days of Button and Hamilton together, 100%.
Perfect. This one you've kind of answered, so I'm going to switch it up. Next year's prediction, F1 prediction.
Ooh. Next year's prediction that Aston Martin are going to be in a title challenge.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bold.
With Mercedes.
With Mercedes, with Red Bull, the lot of them. Yeah.
Be nice to have like 3-4 fighting at the top.
yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, you're writing an autobiography on your life. Which of these titles resonates the best with you? The Daredevil, the Dreamcatcher, the Free Spirit, or the Hardest Worker?
Probably the dream one.
Nah.
Yeah.
The Dreamcatcher?
The Dreamcatcher. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's why you can't sleep at night?
Yeah, my head's in the clouds most of the time. So
Love it.
Incredible. That must have been the most fast
Fastest.
rapid
Yeah,
fire
that
round
was
that
good.
you'd had.
That was pure
Yeah.
purple.
Purple?
Probably 100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, and again, thanks so much for coming on, Haydon. Just to
Thanks
wrap
for
up,
having
I
me
know
on.
at the beginning you told us a bit about your life so far, your career. In about 30 seconds, how do you want to be remembered? What sort of legacy do you want to leave behind here?
For making people laugh, I'd say I've always wanted to make people laugh, even if it's just laughing at me.
Yeah.
If you're laughing, then I've achieved what I've wanted to do
That's
at the end of the day. So I'd say that's what I would love to be remembered for.
You don't want to hear me laugh, but
And he actually.
Yeah, as you do it, like.
I'm terrible. But no, thanks again for coming on. Where can people find you if they want to stay tuned with your life?
Everywhere, I'd
Everywhere.
say. Same, just Haydon Gullis across YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and even on Facebook as well. So across the board.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you like this episode, drop a review. Feel free to check the other episodes out on tracklimitspod.com, and we will see you guys in the next episode.